Hi, everybody. It's Angela O'Neill back at you from Outrageous 8 Records. And today, my guest is the man himself, Paul Litteral. Thank you for joining me, Paul.
Thank you for having me, Angela.
It's exciting to have you here. It has been a big buildup to doing this interview with you because I interviewed Rocky Davis, who is our arranger on the record, and then I interviewed Bill Bodine, who is my co-producer on the record. I interviewed Chill William Bodine, who engineered a lot of the record and mixed a lot of the record and mastered some of the record.
Right.
And now I'm lucky enough to have you, the man of the hour. Congratulations. It is May 1st. Your record is dropping today. Mayday, Mayday. Paul Litteral's
Yeah.
record is out.
And you also had Craig Kupka on.
I
I
had Craig
saw.
Kupka. That's right. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
I did see that.
Yeah.
So I saw almost all of them, I think, and I really really cool stuff. I'm glad they were had a pleasant experience doing the record, and I'm thrilled to have it dropping today. I mean, it seems like it's been a long wait for us because we basically finished around Christmas with the recording process and getting that all done. And then we just had to wait for other things to start to be put into motion to totally finish it. And yes, I'm very excited and just so happy that it's done and that I'm looking forward to seeing how people like it. I hope they do.
So far, I mean, honestly, you and I have both gifted some people, some musical friends, CDs, and the feedback on this record has been honestly even better than I could have hoped for. I think the feedback is not only that your playing is extraordinary, but that the record itself is pleasingly eclectic. With the added bonus to me that even though it's eclectic, sonically it all kind of makes sense and is very pleasing. How do you feel about that? Now that we had our challenges trying to put this record together.
Yeah, I know how the eclecticism bothers some people, or they think about it. I don't know if it bothers is the right word, but to me, it's like there's always been records with different styles on it that ever since I was a little kid. So I don't think anything about that. I mean, the Beatles did that, and
Yeah, you and I were talking about Sergeant Pepper the other day, like,
yeah, like that
and
was a
there's
very
yeah.
experimental
If you
record.
listen to the Queen records,
Yeah, they're all
Bohemian,
very experimental.
not
They have
every
like a
two
country, like
exactly.
even the Stones, they had like country songs and pop
Yeah,
songs, and
right.
so to me, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But I guess it is kind of a big deal because a lot of modern records don't really do that much. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? They stay in one general area. But I thought it would just be more interesting for the listener to do it this way. And I thought that the common thread that would hold through it would be the way the rhythm section and I sound on it.
yeah.
That would be a common thread to no matter what singer or what extra we put on it or who else had solos. It wouldn't matter because in the end, it's my sound on it and it's the
Yeah,
sound of the rhythm section. And I really think it came out there. I'm very happy with the way that it sounds. And to me, it really holds together well.
yeah. Agreed.
And I'm very pleased with some of the responses, like especially from Europe and stuff. And over here, I've been totally thrilled with the responses.
Oh my gosh, I know, me too. And so thankful that people are willing to sit down and listen to the CD. It seems like nobody has 30 seconds to spend anymore, and that the fact that they've sat down and listened to 10 tunes in a row, a lot of people say this is a great driving CD. Monica just left here, said to me, I put it in my car while I was driving, over to San Bernardino. Awesome driving record. So I love the
Yes.
fact that people, again and again, that has been the
Yeah.
thing. People sitting in their car want something that's like fun and a little surprising as you go along, has lots of different styles, but sounds really good in the car. I think that's so funny.
Yeah, I was doing a gig last weekend and the same thing. A musician I had given the record to came up to me and goes, I just drove to the gig tonight and listened to this record, and it's a great driving record.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
it totally like keeps your mood up and it's nice and it's fun to listen to and the tunes are great. And so I said, I'm really glad you like it. And that's a win for us.
Yeah.
I'll pass that along to you and Bill that they did a great job. So
Yeah, it's pretty amazing getting that feedback. After we kept this record pretty well under wraps, except for the single that we released earlier, because we kind of started with "I Can't Make You Love Me," and that we test marketed out at the very end of 2020. And then, as we've talked about in some of the other interviews, there were stoppages and startages. Oh, that's not a word. Um,
well, it
because
can
of
be if we want it to be. It's
Okay, well, today startages is a word. Um, but based on COVID, being there's all those scientific things that were happening that were kind of making it a
right,
stop and start kind of process for us.
right.
Um, and it's just funny how a lot of people I think people would be interested in how some of the people who are trumpet players who might follow this Zoom or be interested, especially in a solo trumpet record. What is it from your perspective that made you kind of fall in love specifically with trumpet?
I mean, it's hard to explain because it happened in a very weird way. Like I was, how when you're a small child in second and third grade and you have chorus every day, right?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
I don't know if you had that where you
I
were, but
didn't that young, but yeah, we had band.
we did. We had chorus where they'd come in and we'd sing in the classroom with the chorus
Oh,
teacher. And then when I got to be fourth grade, yeah, fourth grade going into fifth grade, she came in at the end of one semester, before the summer break,
uh-huh.
and said, "Next year, you guys can sign up for band if you want to." And she goes, and I'm going to explain what band is. And she had all these flashcards with
Oh,
pictures of instruments,
uh-huh, yeah.
and she'd hold them up and she'd say, "This is a French horn, and this is a clarinet, and this is a saxophone." And when she got to trumpet, I saw the trumpet and I said, "That's it. That's what I want to do."
It was love at first
It was
sight.
love at first sight. It really was. And I think partially it was that. And when I was a little child, my grandmother loved Louis Armstrong
Oh,
and was always showing me these different trumpet players. She saw, she liked Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass and stuff.
yeah.
And so it was like, and we were always watching like later Doc Severinsen and stuff like that. And later I got to meet him, but
Uh-huh.
uh,
So that was how it got. And then basically once you started, I mean, we're talking with
well,
Bill Bodine
yeah.
about
And then when
this.
I was in high school, really, sophomore year, I knew that's what I was going to do.
Really? That's early
I knew
on.
that's what I was going to try to do. Let me say
Right.
that. I said, I'm going to give this a go.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I could have picked something easier
Probably. I think that's probably true.
in life to do.
Yes.
Uh, but it really, it, it's just been such a part of me for so long now
Yeah.
and really helped get me out of Kentucky, you know, and
Right.
not
So
going.
so you joined up the Navy, right? Am I doing
I
the
had to
timeline right?
audition. I auditioned for the Navy School of Music.
While you were still in Kentucky.
Yeah, they flew me to Chicago to the Great Lakes and got me an audition, and I auditioned and I got accepted.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
then I had to join the Navy.
Right.
So I joined it, but the thing that was good about auditioning was it meant I had a contract before I went in, so that once I go through boot camp, I would be going directly to school. They couldn't steer me some other way
Right,
in
right.
boot
You couldn't
camp.
suddenly go to a war-torn country somewhere
Yeah,
with
I
your
was going to be a
trumpet as your
radar
weapon.
tech or something like that. No,
Right.
they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Or throw me on a ship somewhere. They couldn't do that.
Okay. So you were with the band.
Yeah, always. Mm.
And how long did that phase last?
It was 4 years of my life.
Wow, that's crazy. And did they travel you guys? You and I haven't talked very much about this.
Yes, I toured with them, and like the biggest traveling was like they flew me once to like Iceland
Oh, wow.
to do a change of command
Oh,
for Admiral Zumhoff, who was like the Secretary of the Navy at the time. And
Wow.
so I got to have a couple of days in Reykjavik, Iceland, which I actually adored. I loved Iceland very,
It's
very
supposed
much.
to be beautiful, yeah.
It is gorgeous there, and it's weird because when I was there, the weather changed 4 times in one day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we got there, it was, like, foggy and misty. In the afternoon, it cleared up and the sun came out,
Yeah.
and then that night it rained, and then at midnight, it started snowing.
Oh my god. That's variety for you.
Yep.
Wow.
They
You'd have to have
they have weather there. They
some really
experience
good
real weather.
rainwear if you lived there, I think. Yeah. Well, how cool is that? What an amazing experience. And then you kinda landed in New York, and
Right
started
after I got out, yeah, I came back
right.
to New York
And
City.
then what was that transition like? I think if kids are in high school or something like that, they're playing trumpet, they always wanna know,
Well,
how was
because
that
when I
transition?
was in the Navy School of Music, I got into this. I was accepted in the student lab band, which is like they picked each play like a few players from each, like trumpet, sax,
Each
trombone,
section?
and each section,
Mhm.
and that were like some of the best in school, and they put them in this band, and it was called the student lab band.
Oh,
And at the end of the year, we got to play this concert where we're actually scouted by all the bands, the specialty bands from the Fleet bands
oh, how
to the
cool.
DC band to the
Mhm.
Annapolis band, and I was scouted by the Annapolis band to go to DC if I wanted to, but I'd have to re up for 20 years.
Right.
And I just didn't think I was cut out to be a
Yeah.
full timer. I
Yeah,
just wasn't
a lifer.
a lifer. I wasn't cut out for it.
Yeah.
But I got to pick my duty station, and there was a
Huh.
guy there from New York, and he says, I'm from New York City, the New York City band." And he goes, how would you like to come to New York?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd like to come to New York."
Oh, I see. I don't
And
think I
so
ever knew that.
yeah, and so they brought me to New York, and
Uh-huh.
then I was there 2 years, and that was like actually my when I was there, I wasted no time. I got like private teachers and stuff that I started studying with, like Ray Crisera and Jimmy Maxwell, that I studied with while I
Right.
was in New York.
Yeah.
And then what happened was while I was there, I'd also go and see like all the great bands that came through, Elvin Jones, Freddie Hubbard, Chase, Buddy Rich,
Yeah.
Super Sax. I saw
Uh-huh.
all these guys, right?
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
Steve Grossman, the Brecker brothers, all of these. I followed all of it. Billy Cobham, and it was like a master class.
Yeah.
So it was like being at college,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
actually, furthering my education.
Right.
But I was there 2 years, and then for my last 2 years, the Navy made a consolidation of the bands from Boston. They cut Boston out, they cut New York out, they cut Philly out, and they
Mhm.
moved us all to Newport, Rhode Island, and put us in another specialty band
Oh.
for attached to the Marine War College there.
Oh, wow.
So I finished in Newport, Rhode Island. Is where
Oh,
I
how
finished
cool.
my tour of duty.
Yeah. And in the meantime, you were kind of like, making some connections, kind of getting the lay of the land out
I
there, kind
sort of
of.
was. I mean, my private teachers helped me with that.
Right. Yeah. That's
And
good
so
for
when
people
I
to know if they do take lessons, that
yeah.
can be a really a nice entree into if they're moving to a new area or whatever, find a teacher.
Yeah, it is because they can
Yeah.
give you an idea of what it's like there. And it's like when I was coming out, it's like it's always the way because the people that were there before you, their musical experience was different.
Yeah.
And they saw like more jobs go down than when they were coming through at
Sure.
their life period, their lifetime.
Yeah.
And so when I got there, they were like, "Oh, it's not like it used to." But I started out doing Broadway. Basically, my first gig was like a bus and truck
Uh-huh.
of Shenandoah with John Raitt,
Huh.
Bonnie Raitt's dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and
We're wishing her
after
the best.
that,
I think
I
she's had
got a
something happen this weekend. Did you hear about that, Bonnie Raitt?
yeah, yeah. I heard she's in the hospital.
Yeah, so
That's
we're
yeah,
sending her
good
good
vibes.
vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, I worked with her later in my career, on a Hal Wilner record, and then I met her a number of times, and I think we played the Grammys one year, the jazz and blues Grammys that we played, which is the day after the Grammys, because they can't have us cluttering up the stage, when you're doing the
Right,
Grammys.
right.
But anyway, so I got to. She knew about us, and she was always very, very nice to me.
Yeah, yeah,
So I wish her the best in getting
yeah,
back.
for sure.
But
It,
my first job after the bus and truck was, I got on Broadway. I got a Broadway show
amazing.
that ran 4 years.
Huh.
You know, Best Lower House in Texas.
Yeah.
And then while I was doing that, after that, I did chess, and then I did.
Oh, wow. Chess. Yeah,
I
I know
subbed,
that show.
yeah, and I subbed on Chorus Line a
Oh,
couple of times.
wow. All big shows.
Yeah, all big
Yeah,
shows. And then we actually, when I got with the Uptown Horns and we started really rolling, doing records and stuff,
yeah,
uh, I stepped away from Broadway and didn't do that anymore. Just did sessions and jingles and records and tours and stuff like
yeah.
that. But while we were in the thick of our big recording streak that we had, we were asked to do the MTV video and the track for that for Cats. So I played on that.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh my
No,
God.
I played on that, the one that was shown on MTV.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
it was
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
It was
Iconic,
crazy.
right?
Yeah,
Better than cats. How can you do, if you do
Kitty.
cats, how can it be better than cats?
Yeah, Kitties was such a phenomenon. I never really understood that show. Like, what the appeal? I mean, everybody loves cats, but come on,
Sure, sure.
cats singing, and we all see that they're people dressed as cats. I mean, we know that, right? I mean, they're not real cats. But
Yeah. When I saw the movie last year or whatever it was, I was like,
you
wow.
go, how did this? What happened? What happened to us? Well, what made us pay this kind of money to see this?
Oh my goodness. Well, that is pretty amazing. And we've talked a lot about the Uptown Horns kind of with the other folks and stuff. And of course, Paul has an amazing discography. We've talked about it on the radio shows and all that kind of good stuff. But it always bears mentioning the tour with the Stones, with Jake Isles, with the Honey
Robert Plant?
Drippers.
Yeah.
Yeah, who else?
No, I said Robert Plant. Oh,
Robert Plant.
Buster Poindexter
Yeah.
uh, did tour with him, and Pat Benatar.
Oh, that's right. I always forget to mention that one.
And then I
But
did
it's
a bunch of blues tours that were great, big blues tours. They were huge. I mean, like I did the one with Albert Collins. That was a
oh
good,
wow.
great one. Yeah,
I don't think I knew about that one. But it is amazing, and people sometimes are curious how why it's called Legacy, the record, and why the things are so eclectic, the tunes, and it is because you have had the breadth of this career in trumpet, and each tune I think is kind of representative of something that really resonated with you during a certain time period, kind of,
yeah. A
right?
certain time in my life. Yeah,
Right.
a lot of each song was significant
Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
period in my life or things that were happening in my life.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so I thought that, you know, since now I'm basically a teenager,
Yes.
I'm a teenager.
I've not heard that term. That's a good one.
I thought that this was a good time to do it.
Yes, it is. And I mean, part of it comes out of the fact that in the last like whatever since 2014. So I met Paul in about 2000, maybe before that, but around in 2014, and we were putting together this smaller group. The whole group of us, Harry and Ron, Rich. Actually, many of the people who are still in the Outrageous Eight began the Outrageous Eight. Our
Yeah,
foundation members, as I call them.
and
Uh,
it's a great band.
what?
It's a great band.
It's a great band, and we have such a good time together. And this kind of was born out of, people are like, "Why did you make this record?" It was born out of the fact that we, as a group, sorry, choking, have so much fun together,
Yeah,
and we made, we recorded a live record kind of just as an experiment, and we recorded a Christmas record also because we have a great Christmas book. We were like, well, I guess we should record this.
great Christmas record.
And then you and I were talking one day after rehearsal, and I think you said, "What do you think about doing a solo trumpet record?" And I thought to myself, "Why didn't I think of that?" Um, just because I think that you're such an amazing player. You have such an amazing breadth to your career. You're an interesting player with so many different kinds of levels to your playing. It's kind of a
Yeah,
natural.
yeah. I thought that at that point too, that I finally had certain things to say musically,
Right.
and so I wanted to do it while I was in a really good space as a player.
Yes, exactly. I think exactly. And when you said it, all of that kind of resonated for me. And then, of course, the great part about that idea was that the same people who were at that rehearsal, Rocky and Harry and everybody else who was at that rehearsal, as we stood on that lawn out there in the backyard because of COVID, they all took part in this record and helped
Yeah.
move it forward. The whole family, the whole musical family.
Yes.
Um, and that's part of the fun of these projects, is that it is like the same group of people rehearsing, who are playing out live, who are in recording sessions. We kind of support each other and have so much fun together, and it really does make it a
Yeah, and I
joy.
thought they were perfect for this record.
Yeah,
Rocky and Bill and Tony Pia and even everyone I used on it, on the tracks I used them on, they were pretty much perfect.
yeah,
Perfectly cast. It was like casting for a movie almost, of like, who would
yeah,
be right in this role or who would add the most to this and stuff, you know.
right, yeah.
And it worked out that way.
It did. It did. I mean, there's so many elements of it that you kind of can't control. Um, but the musicianship that was brought to this was pretty amazing. And
Yeah.
we get to certain points where it's like, okay, so we recorded part of this song there. How are we going to move those stems from here to there so we can start again? Michael Rosen, I'm actually zooming with him tomorrow afternoon, and he was the one who did the final master on the record.
Yes.
And
He did a great job. Plus he played drums on the stuff we did hard times and accentuate the positive and
I think
whoopee,
so.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So it
and
was like,
harmonica, lest we forget what an
yes,
amazing
and
harmonica
harmonica.
player he
I
is.
think he played on Another You as well.
Yeah, I think he did too. Yeah. So I mean, there were so many people who we've played in all of the different bands with who played on this record. That really makes it fun. It really makes it a family affair. And don't forget the donuts. Donuts are a very important
I
aspect.
made sure Randy's Donuts was like on our training table. Yes. Every time we came in, I know how to get musicians to do stuff.
There was one occasion a named musician came down and ran a track that we didn't realize we needed for cash and a donut.
Yes, that's
Just
true.
saying. Just saying.
That's true. That's true.
And was amazing.
Yes.
So it's really been a joy. I just want to thank you so much. You and I have been in the trenches together, and
Yes, we have.
there have been times when I think both of us were like, "Wow, are we gonna be able to finish this project?" And we did, and I'm amazed and thankful for that, and thankful
Me too.
that you're happy, because ultimately at the end of the day you're the artist. We're in it together, but whenever it became a question of what do we do, and you had an opinion, I tried to make that opinion reality.
Yes, and I think you did a great job at that. You and Bill
Well,
did a
there's
great
so
job.
many so many people who contributed. It is not me at all. But I am really thrilled to be sharing it. So today, just if the folks at home are wondering, today is the day, May 1st, that this record actually goes out on all the radio stations internationally. We just got a review from a Parisian radio station, right, Paul? You
Yeah,
read
in
that one
Paris.
more better
Yeah.
than I
Mhm.
did.
Yeah.
There was
And
another,
the Netherlands.
yeah, And there was one other one too in Europe that we got feedback from. So it's dropping all the way across the world today. It's really exciting. We'll get more feedback as we go along, and it's been really fun to do these Zooms. So thank you for joining me on this Zoom. We'll probably do another one as we go along and kind of get feedback from the people along the way. We'll do another Zoom, a little update how it's doing,
Sure.
and it's really been amazing, and I can't wait to hear. Carrie Gaffney out in Atlanta is actually the one. Thank you, Carrie, so much. She has
Thank you,
handled
Carrie.
all of the
She's
reviews,
doing
all of
she's doing
the
a great job.
amazing job. Carrie on Carrie, if you want to track her down online, she's an amazing, amazing gal, and so we're just really pleased that we got to this point, and very excited about it going out on the radio today. So listen for it, request it. We'll try to give you guys a list of radio stations where it might be played, and you might be able to request it. Maybe we'll try to do that next time, Paul. We'll put it in the
Yes,
chat or something. Yeah.
sure.
And so there you go, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, Paul. Thank you so much. I know you're off to a rehearsal this afternoon or this evening.
Yes.
So have a great rehearsal tonight. Thank you guys for joining us, and yay for May Day.
Yay for Mayday.
Bye, Polly. Have a good one. Bye,
All
you
right,
guys. Thanks
bye-bye.
for joining us.
Take
Bye.
care.